from Mike. Mike says, I want to do a header upgrade on my truck. Do you guys have any tips that can make that job a little bit easier?
Well, before we can do a header upgrade, we have to remove the factory exhaust manifold. Now, we've got the truck up in the air and we're halfway through the process. As you can see, we took off the inner fender and we took off the exhaust on the back side, but we need to remove that exhaust manifold. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would you take off a brand new part that doesn't have any holes in it or isn't cracked or damaged? Right. Well, it all comes down to airflow. You know, these factory exhaust manifolds most often are stamped or they're cast. In this situation, they're cast and they don't have good flow characteristics. There's a lot of restrictions in the way and they're quite bulky and heavy. So if we remove this, we're going to get better airflow.
Sure, the headers actually have a more tubular design and they're lighter, they're less bulky. So you think about it, they're all doing the same job. It's just one method is a lot better, right? Now here's another good idea for when you're taking off this stock manifold. We like to pull the spark plugs all out first. You can see right in there, right below where Bruno's taking that bolt out, there's the hole where the spark plug was. So that plug's sticking out. There's a little bit of a protrusion. Now, most times you don't have overabundance of room in there, right? You're kind of moving things around and pulling it down and moving it over to the left or right. And if the plugs are sticking out, you're getting hung up on them potentially. And then if you get frustrated and try to jerk that thing out of there, you could shear one of those things off and break the spark plugs. And if you do that, well, then you've got even more problems.
Yeah, one thing you want to keep in mind if you take the plugs out of the way is you have an open hole now to your engine.
Right.
And things like header bolts can fall right in there, and if they do, well, that's a completely different show. Matt, why don't you get underneath there and catch this as this thing comes down?
All right, so be careful with that stuff.
Remember, it's heavy. You ready?
Yeah, I got it.
There you go.
Here we can take a good look at what we were just talking about a couple of seconds ago with the better flow and less resistance. And you take a look at this. Here's the stock manifold right there. So all of this exhaust is coming in here and it's getting crammed in right here. It's all meeting up and getting choked into right here. It's creating a little bit of back pressure potentially right there. You can have all sorts of problems. Now what we do is basically from the exhaust port side, you want that to get further away to where it meets up in the collector right here. This way, everything's getting a chance to get around those corners and travel a little bit before it gets all crammed up. Think about it like traffic, okay? So here, we've got 4 lanes of traffic that are all merging into one, and you've got about 50 feet to do it. You know there's gonna be accidents all over the place. It's gonna be a lot of problem. Now over here, we've got 4 lanes of traffic all merging into one, but they've got like a half a mile. So everybody's getting up to speed and getting on the on-ramp, and everybody's getting down the highway nice and safe. So Bruno, you ready?
1 second, Matt. Before we can put the header in, we need to go ahead and actually change out the bolt going into our steering shaft. Now, it comes in the kit, and it's a little bit shorter bolt, and it's got a button head Allen on the end of it. The idea is it gives us more clearance, so that header is going to stick out a little bit farther than the stock exhaust manifold. This way we won't have any issues where we hit.
There we go.